y'all, it's Melissa. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm doing another allergen-free cook with me. But before we get started cooking, there's a few things I want to tell you about today's recipe. Okay, so first of all, if you are new here, I am a mama of 3 kids. We homeschool, and my youngest child, Ford, has a really long list of life-threatening allergies. So we are an allergen-free home. Our allergies. Now, he is not allergic to all the top 8, so if you're a top 8 family, my recipes won't necessarily work for you, although sometimes there are substitutes you can do in my recipes that will make them top 8 friendly. But ours that we avoid are dairy, egg, shellfish, fish, tree nuts, peanuts, and flax. So that's what we're avoiding. He's not technically allergic to soy, but we do try to avoid that as much as we can, although I do include it in some things just because it's nearly impossible to find substitutes for a few things that don't have soy in them. Why is soy in everything? Anyway, so that's our allergens, and so that's how I cook. So today I am going to make for you a much requested recipe that I posted on my social media. If you don't follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at The Little Ford That Could. And I post there on pretty much every day, lots of different things that are going on in our lives. And this was a recipe that I made last week, or the week before? No, last week. And I posted a picture of it on my social media because it was so good. And tons of you asked for the recipe on social media. So today we're making, oh my goodness. Today we're making king cake crack candy. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Okay, so first of all, I realize that most of the rest of the world does not celebrate Mardi Gras. So if you are one of the few people who live here and you know what Mardi Gras is and you know what king cake is, then you probably just want to skip ahead. But I thought it would be good to talk a little bit about king cake and Mardi Gras for those of you who are not from Mardi Gras world. So most people, there's Zazu again, most people think that Mardi Gras started in New Orleans. New Orleans is famous for Mardi Gras, and lots of people around the world think that's where Mardi Gras started, but it really didn't. Mardi Gras can actually be traced back to medieval Europe in the 17th and 18th centuries. But as far as Mardi Gras in America, it actually started in 1703, right here in Mobile, Alabama. I know, crazy, right? Not New Orleans, because New Orleans was not even established in 1703. New Orleans was not established until 1718, 15 years later, after the first Mardi Gras was celebrated in the United States. So the holiday of Mardi Gras was originally a French Catholic tradition, and basically it starts at Epiphany, or 12th night, which is the traditional 12 days of Christmas that are usually celebrated beginning on Christmas Day and ending on the 12th day after that. And that's called Epiphany. And then after that is what we call the Mardi Gras season. And Mardi Gras was traditionally preparation for Ash Wednesday, which is the beginning of the season of Lent. Now, I am not Catholic, so that is not something that we participate in, but lots of people who celebrate Mardi Gras are not Catholic. And so over the years, even though that's how it started, Mardi Gras is just really turned into just a big carnival, a big celebration. And of course, many people that are Catholic still do celebrate those Catholic traditions that are included as part of Mardi Gras, culminating in Ash Wednesday and then the beginning of Lent. That is just not something that we do. And of course, because it's become such a big holiday around here, like I said, pretty much everybody participates in Mardi Gras, but many of them are obviously not Catholic. So some of the people celebrate it for those reasons, and some of us celebrate it just because it's fun tradition in our area. So basically, Mardi Gras happens over several weeks, as I said, from Epiphany until Ash Wednesday. But the main event is one singular day. It's always on a Tuesday. It's called Fat Tuesday. And around here is a big deal. Like, schools are out, offices are closed, businesses are closed. A good portion of the city shuts down because so many of us participate in the celebration that is Fat Tuesday. But leading up to Fat Tuesday, the main events for Mardi Gras are parades, which I'm sure you've heard about. Anybody can attend any parade they want to. They're in public, downtown. It's the same in New Orleans. You can go to a parade and they throw you things like beads and moon pies and ramen noodles. You never know what you're gonna get at a Mardi Gras parade. It's always interesting. And then other than parades, they have Mardi Gras balls, which are essentially a ball. You get dressed up, tuxedos, formal gowns, and you go, and it's a big celebration. And there's food and drinks and dancing and fun. And both the parades and the Mardi Gras balls are sponsored or put on by what we call mystic societies, which dates all the way back to 1703, believe it or not. And they're basically secret societies, which is why you see Mardi Gras masks all the time, because they wear masks so that you don't know who they are. But they do take that seriously, even though obviously if you know somebody, you're going to recognize them in a Mardi Gras mask. But technically, some of the societies are really serious about you not telling somebody when it's not Mardi Gras season, hey, I'm in such and such society. And you can actually get kicked out of them for doing that, which I guess seems kind of silly, but that's just the tradition. So that brings us to king cakes, right? Because that's why we started this. We're talking about king cake crack candy. So king cake was originally eaten on Epiphany, and then somehow it just turned into a Mardi Gras tradition. It's basically a coffee cake that's braided and shaped into a ring, and then it has icing that they put on it, and traditionally you have colored sugar sprinkled on the top of the icing in the Mardi Gras colors, which are purple, which represents justice, green, that represents faith, and gold, that represents power. So a traditional king cake is basically a coffee cake in the shape of a ring with this icing and sugar on it. So your basic flavors are cinnamon and vanilla, basically. Now, some king cakes have gotten Some king cakes have gotten fancier and have filling in them, like a yummy cream cheese filling. Some of them have fruit fillings, like a strawberry filling, or I don't know, other fruit. Lemon is a popular one. And then lately I've been seeing some really yummy recipes with like a salted caramel filling, which sounds fabulous. Anyway, and so the tradition is there's always a little plastic baby hidden in the king cake. And if you're the lucky person to get the baby in your piece of king cake, then the tradition states that you are the one who will buy the next king cake or throw the next king cake party. And king cake parties are a big deal. You always have king cakes at your Mardi Gras parties around here, and they are delicious. So if you ever are down our way, and around this time of year, get yourself some king cake because it's good. So some of you have maybe heard of like the famous cracker candy that people have made. So basically what somebody did is they took, and this is not my recipe. I found this recipe, I'll link it and the description box below to give this person credit for their recipe. But basically, they took the king cake recipe, the cracker candy recipe that's so famous, and they sort of infused king cake flavors and colors, and made it one recipe. And then I took that recipe and I made substitutions that would enable it to be safe for our allergens in our allergen-free home. And it was a huge hit. Like, my family ate it all up. It really is good. So anyway, here we go. We're gonna make some king cake crack candy. Okay, so ingredients are pretty easy, not very many of them. Butter, this is the one I used this time. I don't normally use that one, but it was all I could find. Brown sugar, saltine crackers. If you're gluten-free, there might be a gluten-free saltine you could use in place. I'm not sure. Then this recipe would be top 8 free. White chocolate chips. These are my new favorite brand. Toll House finally came out with top 8 free chips. That they have white, semi-sweet, and I think dark, and they're awesome. So white chocolate chips, pure vanilla extract, cinnamon, and of course your colored sugars in your Mardi Gras colors. Now, I have had these a long time and I don't remember what brand they are or where I got them, but I do know that they're safe. Sorry, I don't have more details on those. Okay, next step. Ideally, you want to use parchment paper for this, but I didn't have any, so I'm using aluminum foil, and parchment paper would be fine just by itself on your cookie sheet. Since I'm using aluminum foil, I decided that I was gonna spray just a light coat of cooking spray on it, just to help keep my candy from sticking, and it worked really nicely. So if you don't have parchment paper like me and you're not prepared, then you can try the aluminum foil and the cooking spray, and it worked great for me. After that, you are going to want to take your saltine crackers and spread them out nice and evenly, with all their edges fitting together nicely on your cookie sheet. Now, I will say that this time I decided to make half a batch instead of a whole batch, mainly because my children were eating them so quickly last time that I just felt like we needed to not have quite as much of a sugar overload in the house this go round. So I am making half a batch, but last time when I made these, I filled the entire cookie sheet up with saltines, which is the perfect amount for sorry, I just got distracted. Is the perfect amount for a full recipe. So again, I'm doing half a recipe. The link in the description box below gives you the full recipe. I just literally cut it right in half and it worked great. But just know that if you're gonna do a full recipe, you'll fill your entire cookie sheet up with saltines. Once you get your oven preheated to 375 degrees, you're ready for the next step on your stovetop. So you want your heat on about medium to high, and this is where you're going to combine your butter, your brown sugar, and your cinnamon over medium-high heat. Now, I obviously am using vegan butter here because it's safe for us. If real butter is safe for you, then use real butter or whatever your preferred butter substitute is. That is what you can use here. You are going to use equal parts butter and brown sugar. In my case, I used half a cup of each. If you're making a full sheet pan, or technically it's a half sheet, but if you're making the full cookie sheet, the full recipe, you want 1 full cup each of butter and brown sugar. So once it's all good and melty, I add my cinnamon and I'm mixing it all up, and you want to bring it to a boil, and you want to let it boil about 3 minutes before you move on. So once you turn the heat off, you add your vanilla, stir that in, and then you're gonna just pour it on top of your crackers and then spread it out as evenly as you can. I wish I had, I forget what they're called, a better spatula for this. But anyway, I didn't, so I worked with what I had. And it works out okay. I think you could do a better job of it if you had a better spatula than I had. But anyway, spread that caramel mixture out over your crackers and try to get it as even as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be pretty because you're going to put the white chocolate over it anyway, so you're really not going to see this layer at all. So just do the best you can. Once you've got it all set, you're going to pop it into your 375-degree oven for 5 minutes. Once you get it out of the oven, you're going to sprinkle the hot crackers and caramel with your white chocolate chips. It does not have to be pretty. It does not have to be perfect because you're going to let them sit there for 5 minutes to melt. And then once you have waited those 5 minutes, you're going to use your spatula and spread that white chocolate out. Once you get it spread out how you like it, you're going to take your Mardi Gras colored sugars and just sprinkle them over that melted chocolate. Then once you have it just like you like it, you are going to pop it in the freezer for about 30 minutes. Once it's been in the freezer for a full 30 minutes, you're going to take it out of the freezer and literally just break it up into pieces, and then it's all ready to chow down on. Okay guys, there you have it, king cake crack candy. Let me know in the comments if you made it, if you loved it, if you hated it, if you have another cracker candy recipe that you just love. I'd love to know. I'm always looking for yummy recipes that I can make some substitutions and make a yummy free version that Ford can enjoy. So if you've got any great ideas, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next week.